indicates that Councilman Dewhurst brought up his displeasure and that the town did not authorize the services of a labor consultant at $150 per hour plus 58 cents per mile. It was brought to his attention by reviewing the monthly bills.
May I ask a question, Mark?
Sure.
Why is Tom not bringing this up? It was his input, and I would think that if there were an objection to the fact that it were not included, it should come from Tom.
Well, whether Tom or Chris or you want
I
to
bring up things that concern me personally,
Okay.
that I feel I would like to see included. I don't presume to speak for other members of the board.
I'm not speaking for members of the board. I'm looking at the minutes, and I think that some important information, what I feel is important, should be in there. I think, like I said, I think the three items should be consistent.
Actually, the town has authorized, because the labor consultant has a contract with the town.
No. What I'm quoting is what is on the video as opposed to what are on the minutes. Okay? But let me finish. Further, it was noted that the February bill from the labor negotiator was for a meeting between him and the supervisor to discuss contract negotiations. Councilman D'Agostino requested a transcript from the meeting to distribute to the entire board, since no other board member was aware of that February meeting. Further discussion involved having to pay the labor negotiator for attending the April 5th executive session and billing the town.
Okay. The meeting that I had with the labor negotiator was to bring me up to speed as to where labor negotiations had been, and to educate me a little bit about labor negotiations. I am not required to have a transcript of every meeting I have with anybody in town. I'm the supervisor, and that was something I needed to perform my duties better. It was a meeting to bring me up to speed and to inform me.
Well, nobody's asking you to provide a transcript of every single meeting, but to bring you up to speed and to inform you on labor contract negotiations, of which the entire board has to vote on, I thought it would be beneficial that the entire board be brought up to speed.
The entire board will be brought up to speed when we go into labor negotiations, when we start that process in the fall.
Okay. And the minutes further state, let's see, there was concern that it appeared the board was entering into executive session at almost every meeting and felt the town board should be more transparent.
That was said, but the fact was we went into executive session
I
for
understand
reasons
that.
to discuss particular people.
I
And we
understand
had
all
to do that in order to discuss them.
No, I
It was
understand that. All I'm saying is the minutes reflect what was communicated at the town board meeting. And I think those items are very important, to be consistent with the video, to be consistent with the tape recording. We're not looking to write verbatim every single,
No, we're not looking to write verbatim, but they're inaccurate.
I don't,
Because going into executive session, your comment implies that going into executive session was not correct and it was done to be secretive. And that is not the fact. It was done because that's the way government has to work in order to discuss
we're
a
not
particular
talking about what it
person.
implies. We're talking about what was actually communicated at a town board meeting and what should be in the board minutes.
Mark,
Now we can,
I'd like to make a comment.
Go ahead.
It seems to me that we could all be doing this. I come here and I want to do the business of the town. I don't want to second guess the people that have been elected or appointed to do their jobs. And occasionally I'll make a comment. But Chris could do it, you could do it, Tom could do it. We'd be here all night deciding what needed to be added to the minutes that we thought should be there. I think, if we're going to do that, I would rather see us go back to action taken, vote, and nothing else. No comments, nothing else. So that we don't have to spend hours avoiding doing the town's business because we don't like the way something was done. Just vote, how it went, action taken, and that's it. And then we're not going to have all of
If
this
you want to
back
make that
and forth.
motion, it's up to you.
I'm discussing it. I'm
Okay.
saying that perhaps we should do that if people are going to keep jumping in with extensive modifications to minutes.
I would add also that I think when anyone feels that they have made a particularly have made a statement or a number of statements that they want to have included because they want everyone to know that that was said by them. And it's you in this case, it could be somebody else at another time, Mark. I think then we're getting into the issue of picking and choosing, which in order to have verbatim transcript material. I mean, I will say again, I think that I understand you have your opinion, you certainly said these things, but there's no chance for me to answer the fact or to defend something when you are implying with your statement that we entered into executive session in order to be secretive. That is
Nobody's
not, that is
implying
not,
anything.
it does imply that.
All I'm saying is a statement was made, and that's one statement. There were a number of items surrounding the Michael Richardson bill that I think are important to be consistent with all of the other information that is out there. That's all. We're not talking about amending every meeting, and I go back to last month. Joanna had brought up her objection to a resolution that was passed by the board to be put into the board minutes, and it was.
Well,
That, I mean, you know,
Yes.
you're talking about opinions, that was her opinion.
it wasn't my opinion, it was one statement regarding
Okay.
action on the resolution. It was not a whole page full of stuff.
It's not a page.
I think we should leave it up to the person, the clerk, who is responsible for doing the minutes. And if we see an egregious error, we should speak up. Or if we see something related to a resolution or an action, I think that we should make a comment about that. But
I think it's unfair to the clerk, although Rita, I know you do an excellent job and you do the best that you can. I know that, right? But I think it's unfair to leave it up to the clerk to decide what is and what is not in the board minutes.
Actually, the minutes are the clerk's
That's my
minutes.
job.
It is the clerk's
Right.
prerogative. There are opinions, there are opinions from the Committee on Open Government that state that even question whether the town board has a right to comment at all about the clerk's minutes. I know at times Rita has added a comment such as there was, you know, the town board members were not in agreement, or you know, there was some other opinions. But I think when you get into picking and choosing verbatim paragraphs, that I can understand you're wanting to. I think you always have the alternative, if you want to get a copy of the audio tape, to have a verbatim transcript made of it, and to circulate it in town. I mean, you certainly can do that.
That's what we're
But
paying.
I think, no,
videographer
that's
for.
not what minutes are. Minutes are
I didn't
not
say that.
supposed to be that.
How about if you pick one, Mark?
Well, why don't we
It's
just,
important to
why don't
you.
we just, it'll be the board's will, let the board decide.
Right now, this sounds like discussion followed.
I'm sorry?
Yeah,
Said right now,
discussion
this
followed.
sounds like discussion followed.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay?
all right. What else you want to discuss?
So are these the two changes, are these the two things you want to add,
Yes,
that you are asking to add?
yes.
If the board agrees, I'll do it.
Can I make a motion? Is there any motion?
I make a motion to add the changes.
I'll second it.
Is there any more discussion?
Yes, could we do it by, I'm not comfortable with adding all of the changes. What's really important to you, Mark? I wouldn't vote for all of the changes. I would vote for an addition that you feel is important, or something that is directly related to a vote. But I wouldn't vote for adding additional discussion.
I mean,